So today we took a tour. Foodwell Alliance helped to organize a tour of Compost Now facility here in Metro Atlanta area. And it was really insightful and eye-opening. As we were looking at these large systems of dealing with household waste and urban carbon, it was good to reflect on the history of what we know. Back in 2011, I was helping to initiate a relatively small scale community urban compost operation at Truly Living Well Natural Urban Farms, or Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture. And it was a 4-acre farm site off of Sweet Auburn Ave in Metro Atlanta. And I had done some farm management at farm consultation at a farm in Florida, and learned how to do a no-turn row composting method. And the video that Georgia Organics created is called No Turn Row Composting. I think it's on YouTube. But today what we noticed was that David, the owner of Compost Now and the founder, I guess, he said that the ideal composting method is to have a stagnant row pile with an air tube underneath, where you can modulate and control the flow of oxygen and not have to turn the pile so often. Greetings, my name is Eugene Cook, Chief Operations Officer for Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture. We have a 4-acre farm site located right here in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, and we are here to talk to you about no-turn row composting. We have found that using the no-turn row composting method is helpful for us because we move approximately 500 to 700 pounds of vegetable matter each day. And so we stack this in a system where we do not have to continually use our labor force to turn these compost piles and aerate them. Inside of a compost pile, we are working to generate heat. And that's how we began. That's how we began back in 2011 with piles of material, green material that we were picking up from Sweet Auburn Curb Market, and we had to be. At Truly Living Well, we have developed a relationship with local produce vendors, coffee stores, and with juice bars that typically have thrown their organic waste into the trash. We come and pick up that material and recycle it 6 days a week right here at the farm. We had to be there 6 days a week, so that was part of my responsibility to make sure that that relationship was cultivated. We were picking up green waste from city grocers, small-scale grocers, centrally located in a metropolitan market called Sweet Auburn Curb Market. And we were picking up their green material, bringing it to the farm, which was only about half a mile away, and adding that to piles of wood chips and straw, leaving a pipe underneath with aeration holes. For creating our no-turn row compost piles, we use very basic materials to source. You can go to any home improvement center and find a PVC pipe like this that already has drain holes cut in it. We lay this pipe right down on the ground. After the decomposition process is complete, the material is moved to be sifted over a wheelbarrow to remove any of the large material. It can be sifted over a fine screen such as this, or a coarser screen to produce material to put around fruit trees. Our finished product is this. It should smell like fresh soil. There should be no trace of ammonia or the smell of rotten food. This wonderful, rich material, this organic matter, is created completely from plant-based sources. It holds its shape, it'll hold water, time-release nutrients. The gentleman who's managing that system at Truly Living Well now is a brother named Kari Diop of Think Green Inc. At this compost tour, we were both present, and I asked him, I said, hey, how is that relationship with Sweet Auburn Curb Market? Now, you still pick up from them? He said, we don't have to pick up, they deliver. They hired a brother who now picks up from Sweet Auburn Curb Market, gets the green material, brings it to Truly Living Well, drops it off, and then it's managed through a larger scale compost facility with air ducts being blown underneath. The compost gets screened once it's through with its process. He said they're having it delivered to us now. No more having to go pick it up. It created enterprise. Accepting that kind of work, helping to consult farms outside of state, outside of the metro Atlanta area, allowed me to learn different skills, bring those skills to the community, and then see industries developed from that. That is the power of the local food economy. So enjoy this video, our compost facility tour. It was a farm. It's a compost facility on top of a farm. They're leasing land from a peri-urban farm and developing a compost facility called Compost Now.
So we have been at this space for 5 years, and we partnered with the King of Pops brothers for many years. The soil is very compacted, covered in plastic, and so it's a lot of revitalization and just bringing the health of the land back to where it is today. It's taken a lot, and the compost has been a key part of that. Everyone goes to East Point first.
Okay.
Besides the food manufacturer that you saw tip earlier out here, everything comes to East Point first, and what happens in East Point is the material gets pre-sorted before it gets here for contamination. So all the plastics, glass, aluminum, things like that, metals get pulled out of it, and there's not a lot of that because the service that we provide right now is very focused work. It was only a handful of people talking about this, and now we're starting to prioritize soil health at that level. We're talking about soil health in the Farm Bill. We're talking about healthy soils legislation locally. Talking about zoning and policy that supports both growing and soil health priorities in our communities. This is like super exciting, and it's kind of like this is the time for this. That's what it feels like. So when we go out to conferences and go out to talk to legislators, it is, we've just never been where we are today. We have senators writing letters of support for us to expand composting in the states that we're in. And again, no politician since I've been doing this has cared or wanted to support this work. So there is an evolution happening in an arc. It's a long, long arc, but we're here. Pathogens that exist in the period of usually it needs to go through the heating phase, and all the material has to go through that phase before you can really consider it beyond. So that's the second phase, thermophilic. Thermophilic, we're seeing temperatures between 130 to 170 at the high end. You don't want the material to be 170 for very long because your productivity of microorganisms at that temperature goes way, way down. The ideal spot for the microorganisms is around 130 to 145 for us. That's a sweet spot. We're happy if it's at 115 to 130 for a while as well. But that's really where you see the most productivity of these microorganisms working through the material. And it also tells us that we have the pH right. If your temperatures are too high, your pH is not where it needs to be. And again, you have to get that right in the beginning. So each week we're turning that pile, that windrow, one row down and going down to that side. The pad that we're on is at a 3% grade, so that back up into the active pile. So we're recycling the moisture that comes through it because there's a lot of biological activity that exists in that water. And again, you don't want that water going into creeks, streams, and things like that. And we are stage at every turn, we're picking out contamination. And contamination largely comes in the form of plastics out here. And you'll see the plastics kind of bubble up because they're light. So every time you turn it, it'll just kind of come to the top. We pick it out, and then By the end, it's mostly all out. But what will make it through are produce stickers. But it's going to end up at the facility. And I've been to the facility where it gets composted, and it's dirty. It's so contaminated. So we have to shift this model. That is all carbon heavy material. So you're just that I would consider that very much a soil conditioner. You know, something that's just going to provide water holding capability, airspace in your soil, but it's not going to provide a lot of what you're going to get out of a compost like this.
Do you have a plan to like hub the satellite stations where you'll have spring compost, or what do you want?
Yeah, I think the vision is to eventually have, I mean, we want these facilities to be as close to the metro as we can get to, but it makes it very difficult because industrial land and ag land is at a premium. It's being pushed out, as we all know. We are most easily permittable in an industrial area because of the nature of the big vehicles, the trucks, the smells, the sounds. But industrial is being turned into multi-use development almost everywhere. And we're pushing out the things that actually service our lifestyles to the peripheries of our community. But I'm actually excited about these facilities in rural areas. What we're producing, yeah, I think in some ways I call it a soil amendment. I think it depends on who I'm talking to and the level that we're talking at. But what do y'all think as growers? Do you think it's a soil amendment? How do you think of this material? And my mom just retired from Compost Now last year, and my dad retired this year.
Yeah, I mean,
That's phenomenal.
that's beautiful.
That's some dope shit, man.
We have created this soil with a mix of the Compost Now and our soil over a period of about 6 years, no, 5 seasons here at this spot. If you liked that video and you found it helpful, then look, follow us on YouTube. Grow Where You Are has its own channel, as well as become a Patreon supporter, because a lot of the videos on our Grow Where You Are channel are private because they are just for our Patreon members who pay for a subscription to get this information. So if you get on there and you don't see too many videos that you have access to, then consider becoming a member. There's a link in the bio on our Instagram to become a Patreon supporter and get access to the videos. We've been talking about compost for years. We ain't never gonna stop talking about it because healthy soil is life, you know what I mean? Save soil. Grow Where You Are. Look at this here. This compost comes directly out of this bin. So this can be done at home. Remember that anytime somebody says you country, what they're really saying is you're smart. At Truly Living Well, we have been using the no-turn row composting method for about 2 years now. We find that it is economical because we buy less compost. It also creates a great relationship in the community as we gather